You can set up and organize your drop tools into sets, which is why there's this drop-down menu here. The website for DropTools is droptools.sonsofthunder.com. Okay, sorry I forgot the HTTP, but you get the idea. So I'm going to organize this by adjusting the DropTools folder. If you create additional folders in here, like for example, let's say I wanted to have my own controls in a separate folder. And I wanted to, let's say, make another folder for, like, I'll to it. Okay, when I switch back to, all right, let me get back to where I was. And that was organizing the DropTools into separate folders in order to be able to organize them. So as you can see, I have a folder for Altuit and a folder for STS. And when I'm in LiveCode, I have a set for Altuit and a set for STS, and it just automatically adjusts them and moves them around. The name of the DropTools stack doesn't affect what internally the control is referred to. So you can rename the DropTool files in order to set up an order that you like to show up in your DropTool stack. If you want to have everything displayed in one place, you also have a choice of whether or not you want to show things in columns or show things in pages. So I'm going to redisplay the ones we have, which is 7 of them. Okay, but if I click here, I get a configuration window that lets me set the maximum number of icons per column, or I can choose pages. So if I say I want to have 3 icons per column, then the DropTools stack will resize itself to show a maximum of 3 icons per column. If I prefer to do things by pages, then I can say show it as pages instead, and that will be a maximum of 3 icons per page. And then you get paging tools, or paging controls I should say, down at the bottom, so you can navigate among your drop tools, and this lets you switch between. Okay, so that's the basics of how DropTools works. I'm just going to spend a few minutes, I know we're running a little late here, just talking about developing your own drop tool and what it takes. I'm going to start by opening up the prompt field. Okay, this is the actual DropTools stack, the one that's sitting in the DropTools folder. All I needed to do in order to make this work was to create the control, set its behavior to a button that's next to it. Well, it doesn't have to be next to it, but set it to a button that's on the same card, and name the control with the name that I want to give the drop tool, use that same name for the stack, and then use that same name plus the word either behavior or class for the behavior button, and then for an icon, bring in an image, set it to be the same name but with the word icon. That's all that was necessary, and DropTools understood what to do when it loaded it up. Now when you drop a drop tool onto a stack, let me show you where it goes, or at least where the behaviors go. If you look in the application browser, you'll notice that there's a substack of the stack that I dropped it on, drop the prompt field on, called DropTools, and with a millisecond value to make it unique. On that stack is a card called prompt field, and the button, the behavior button, got copied in, and it now sits there. Any additional drop tools that get added to a stack, like for example this Alt button, creates an additional card. So there's one card per control type. Okay? There are 3 different kinds of drop tools that can be made. There's a drop tool called a pre-scripted drop tool, which is one that has all the code inside the group, which is the control, doesn't use any libraries, doesn't use any behaviors. There's a behavior-based control, which is like this one, prompt field and the Alt button. And then there is a library-based control, which is one that uses a library. In this case, Sarah Reichelt's calendar stack, for example, installs libraries into the target stack. So this is how that works. Drag and drop. DropTools tells you that you're installing a library, and you'll need to identify where the library stack is going to end up being stored. So I will just put it on the desktop for now. I gotta change the size of this window. Huge. On the desktop, we'll put it there. Okay. Then what it says is the library itself is going to be put into use as soon as the dialog closes. And the script needs to be modified to include the start using command, which, okay Mark, I'll do that, which can be done automatically for you, or it can be done manually. So in this case, I'm going to have it added automatically. Okay, so what has just happened is, now that I've got the control sitting here, Sarah's library is now available. Here, libsr calendar has already been brought into use from its location. And if I look at the script of the stack, oops, sorry, card, my mistake. It has added the code to load the library. So from this point on, what can be done is her calendar can be called from the library, and as a sample, I have included code in this drop tool button, which will show you kind of how to call it. So sr get date in this case is the function. It gets a bunch of parameters that tells it whether it's a small, medium, or large calendar, and then off it goes. Okay? All right. So that's the basis of DropTools. There are different ways that DropTools can be distributed. They can be free, they can be paid for, they can be hosted on the DropTools website, or they can be hosted on your own site. I'm trying to do an aggregation of tools on the DropTools website, both DropTools as well as other people's custom controls that they have provided. To give kind of a one-stop place to go whenever you need to have a custom control for any reason. And the website is at droptools.sontofthunder.com. And All of the drop tools that are currently available are listed on the All Drop Tools page. All of the controls that other people have done are listed on the Other Controls page, as many as I could identify. If you look at this page and happen to find any controls that you know about that aren't listed here, please send me an email to let me know. If you're interested in developing a drop tool, the developer info section has got tons of information about getting started, the about box, the inspector palette, what happens at drop time. If you want to distribute a drop tool that is secured so that people can't look at the scripts, there's a way to do that too. Methods of distribution, and there's a few examples here on creating one of each of these kinds of drop tools that I identified. And finally, there's a quick reference page that kind of summarizes all of that stuff into a set of tables that kind of tell you what you need to do, and the API that DropTools provides that you can hook into. So in this case, for example, there are messages that you could trap. Don't scroll. Okay, kind of hard not to show a web page without scrolling, but all right. Anyway, yeah, I get the point, Mark. Thanks. So anyway, go look at that page, and there's a set of tables for what messages that you can trap, what commands you can implement. There's a back script for drop tools that lets you save preferences or get preferences specific to your drop tool. There's a number of different things that you can do. Okay, yeah, the URL of the page is, I'm going to post right now, droptool.sonsofthunder.com/developer/intro. Oh, this particular page is quickref.ira. And as you can see by the URL, all this is running on IREF file, so it's using RevServer. Okay, Mark, that does it for this presentation. One of the things that I'm also trying to do, I've got to send an email to RunRev, is I'd really like to have them add the ability to secure the scripts of a single object like a button instead of just a stack. It would make things a lot easier for things like this.